some of us already have experience programming. That's good. You would actually learn a lot from this training. So mostly we'll be working with Python, right? Obviously, I'm sure it's not new to some of us that when we talk about machine learning, anything AI, mostly in the industry today, you hear people going around talking about Python or using Python for things like that. Yeah, so that's what we're going to be working with. Today, I'll be taking you through the process of installing Python on your devices, as well as installing Jupyter notebook. Well, we will be using Jupyter Lab, so I'm going to be working us through the process of installing that as well on our devices. Okay. Just briefly, does anyone here? I mean, I know some of us actually do already, but um, who can tell me what's the coolest thing you've built with Python before? What's the coolest thing? Anyone can actually say what's the one project you've done with Python that you really loved or you are really proud of yourself for building? Anyone? Yes, Mr. Guys. Let's go.
Good evening. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Yes.
you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. So the project I did with Python was creating a very simple chatbot that used certain words to recognize certain responses it would give to
Hmm.
people.
Hmm. Oh, that sounds very interesting. How long did it take you to build that?
About a month.
Wow, impressive.
I can imagine. That's nice. That's nice. Congrats. That's good. So we have Madam Hamzat. Yes, please.
I was trying to learn how to use it on my own and it was time to build BMI calculator and I got confused. That was when I abandoned it and ran away.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
I guess now you probably have your way around it. Yeah. Have you tried going back to it?
No, no, not until like right
Oh, you
now.
ran away.
Uh-huh.
All right, that's good. Okay, we have. Okay, let's take one last person. I see someone raised their hand up. And okay, let's go. Last person. Yeah, Mr. Oh my God. Habibla? I don't know. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I don't want to spoil your name. Just proceed.
Yeah,
Just proceed.
that's good. That's good. It's not that bad at all.
All right.
Okay, I hope you can all hear me.
Yes, yes, I can hear
Okay,
you.
one of the thing I actually built with Python was a kind of script that it asks a client. I'm just using a client like the user who a kind of what do you want to build. Like it's
Mhm.
used like I assume it is going to be used by construction engineers that if you count with a particular description of what a block look like, that's a brick. Then if you can give the length and the breadth of a room or for your house, it's going to tell you an estimate of the total block that is going to
Mhm.
cost the engineer by the end of the construction.
Wow, wow, wow. That's good. That's good. Sounds very simple, but really, 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 really important for the industry you'll be building that for, actually. And I can see that saving lots of money as well. That's really good. One thing we really like to do at K Solutions is build products that would actually be useful to the end users. Even when it comes to side projects, it has to be things that one would actually be happy using and would find very much useful. And what you just said hits the nail on the point. It's actually good. Yes, yes, yes. That's really good. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so I don't think we can take any more contributions now. Let's just take one last person. One last person. I see we had two hands up. So yeah, let's go. We
Tafika.
have, yeah, let's go. The name is Ola Denny, I think.
Yes, Tafika.
Yes, I use Python for data analysis. Yeah,
Oh, that's nice. That's cool. That's
so I used to explore data and just the basics of machine learning.
Mm,
That's
okay. I see someone has already been playing with machine learning.
Of
That's
course.
good. You should be teaching us as well, what's going on. That's
No.
good. Ah, okay. It's all good. We are all in the right place. Some of us already have Python installed, but I'm just going to take us through it. It's really basic. I already have it installed on my device, so I won't be able to run through the whole process. But first of all, what you want to do is to go to python.org/download. So I can share this link with us on Slack. So those that don't have access to this would easily navigate to this page, right? So you need to come here, and when you come to this page, you would see the download button here. If you're downloading this now, if you are here with us now, you might most likely see this version, which is the latest version. So all you need to do is just to click on it. So by default, it recognizes what device you are using to interact with the system. So if you're using a Windows device, you would see here, download latest version for Windows. I believe if you're on Linux or Mac OS, you would see a similar thing. So you just need to click on the button here to download. And once you do this, it will start to download, right? So like I said, I already have this on my device. So I'm not going to go straight to download it. But once it's done downloading, all you have to do is to click on it. Or you know what? There is no harm in doing it twice. I think it would just throw an error or something, so it's okay. So I'm just going to download this real quick so we can all see it together. And I'm just going to click on it to open it. So we're just going to execute it now, okay? So right now it's been downloaded, and as you can see, we have this option that's here. So I can see the screen here. I see the screen here because I already downloaded it before, right? That's why I'm seeing the option to uninstall, repair, and so on and so forth. But in your own situation, you just need to click install, and it installs directly on your device. So by default, you would already have Python installed on your device. Once you go through this step, there is nothing much to it. It's just as simple as that. So once you've installed Python, you will actually see this here. You see new apps added to your device. You see Python 3.1. You
We can't
see
see your screen
Python.
again.
Really? Oh, okay. I hope it's not my network. Acting up again.
Yes, okay.
You can see my screen. Can everyone see my screen at least? Can some people?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm just gonna stop sharing and start all over again so that we would all be able to see it at the same time. So what you just need to do is to pin it. In case it's not pinned on your screen, you can just pin this so that the screen will be in the center view. Can you all see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right. So just short recap. We downloaded the app and then we tried to install it by clicking on it, and it got installed on the device. I already had it before, so it's all good. And then the next thing you have to do is when you go to your menu, you would see some Python apps already installed on your device, right? One easy way to check actually is to go to, if you're using a Windows device, you can go to you can click here to go to the start button, and then you open your command prompts. Well, if you see this here already, it means it's already installed. It means it's already there. But one thing you can do is to open your command prompts, and once you type Python, for example, you would see something like this. It just opens the Python IDE terminal directly inside here, and you can actually write some Python code here. All right. So once you see this, it means you've successfully installed Python on your device. All right. Cool. So our focus for this training would be mostly on machine learning, and those of us that have tried to touch this a little bit, we need to, for easy access, for easy control, and for also documenting anything we are working
Sorry,
on. We would
Mr.
normally
Longshore.
use.
Sorry.
Yes.
I think you're
Yes.
assuming that we have installed it, right?
Yes.
Yes, please. I know for sure that maybe one or two people might want to catch up. Please, does everyone have this downloaded? Have you picked this URL? Everyone, have you picked this URL? Are you downloading already? Does everyone have it
No,
installed?
no, I
So
don't.
please slow down a bit. I know that. Slow down a bit. So
All
we'll give you
right.
like 2 minutes. Please quickly download. Are you downloading? You said no. Are you downloading already? Have you picked the URL? It's dropped on the chat.
Okay, okay,
It's dropped on the chat. Please pick it,
okay.
launch it, and download. Please, at any point in time, feel free to slow us down. Feel free to slow us down and ask that maybe we are not getting something, so that we don't keep on firing blank. We know that some people are experienced, as you can see. Some people have, we will not just have it, so they built stuff with it. But we know, like I mentioned yesterday, that this class is quite balanced. We have highly experienced, we have middle class, and we have people who are beginners. So we'll just manage, we'll find a way to manage all of us. Thank you. Sorry, Mr. Bongshem. Someone has a
Yes,
question
yes.
for you. I think someone wants to raise their hand that time.
All right. Anyone? Do you have any question? Anyone with any question? You can just mute and talk to me. By the way, I dropped the link on the chat. So those that don't have it installed yet, can I know those that are actually trying to install this now? Can you just raise your hands up so I can see you? Anyone trying to install this now currently? Can you raise your hand up so I can see? Okay. 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 All right. We've got 2%. Okay. So, let's give them a couple minutes. Let's do 2 minutes. The file is not that heavy, so no, you can't download it on your phone. You are supposed to have joined this call on your laptop, or at least have your laptop on and active, so that you can follow along. This will be machine learning training, and most of the time, I think what we'll be doing will be hands-on. So that means that you need to be, on your computer doing the same thing your instructor is doing, asking practical questions. You are not going to download this on your phone. I repeat, we won't be downloading. You're not downloading this on your phone. It's meant for your computer. So if you're using a MacBook, a Windows device, a Linux device, you're just going to download it on that. Okay? I hope it's clear. Anyone else trying to download on their phone? Okay. So is it safe to assume that we are okay, and I think most of us have got it downloaded already? Is it safe to assume that? Madam Blessing, are you okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Are you with your laptop right now?
Yeah, but my laptop is malfunctioning.
Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. Don't worry. This call is being recorded, right? So at the end of the lesson, you actually have access to the link, and you can follow the same steps. And you have lots of instructors here to assist you with the process in case you
Hello.
have any questions. Okay.
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
Mr. Muhyiddin, right?
Yes, sir. Good evening. Yes, I am. Please, I don't know if there is a record for this, even when the class is over.
Like I
So that
said, the call is being recorded already, so you will actually have access to this call. Okay?
okay.
Yeah,
All right.
it's being
Okay.
recorded.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, cool. Let's forge ahead because time is fast spent. So, once you've installed Python, the next thing you'd want to do would be to install Jupyter Lab, right? So, Jupyter Lab basically is one of the tools we'll be using when working, as we were working. It's really cool. It's really good in so many things. Managing the environment in which you're working with, which you will learn more about as we keep working. Of course, this is not the only tool out there on the market used for this particular purpose, but it's very much beginner friendly, right? And it's really great when it comes to documenting what you're working on. So this is what we'll be using. So in order for you to install Jupyter Lab, you need to run just one command on your terminal, right? So you need to run one command, and that command is pip install Jupyter Lab. So, but this depends on what you'll be using. Most likely, all of us here will be using pip install. Yeah. So you just need to run pip install Jupyter Lab. I'm going to show us how to do that, right? So once you've installed this, everything should be good to go. So I'm going to move to I'm going to open my command prompt again. So once you've installed Python, you need to open your command prompt to install Jupyter Lab, right? So you open your command prompt and you have it like this. So the next thing you need to do is to type pip. So pip, as you see here, is kind of like a package manager for Python. If you work with JavaScript, you know your npm, so it's the equivalent of that. npm yarn, npm, and the rest of them. It's pretty much the same thing. So what this does is that it contains lots of packages. So you can select the package you want to install. What we're trying to install in this particular case is Jupyter Lab, right? So I already have this installed anyway. So one thing I can tell you is that installing Jupyter Lab, depending on your internet speed and the laptop you're using, could take a while. For me, it took a couple minutes. It was quite long actually. So it would take a while for you to install this. Oh yeah, yes, that's true. So for some of you, it might be pick 3, especially those working with MacBook, you need to use pick 3 instead of pick. So something like instead of writing pip install, you write pip3 install, right? So those using Mac devices would actually see that. Real quick, let me send this link as well to the group, to the chat, so that we can have that there. Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Peter. So yeah, like he said, just in case pip doesn't work, you use pip3 because that will most likely be what what Python in your system would recognize. So pip install Jupyter. So I already have this installed, Jupyter Lab. So once you run pip install Jupyter Lab, you click enter. It's going to start installing. As you can see, I already have some of these things here. That's why you see this message that says requirements already satisfied, because I already have it installed, right? And once you click enter, once you tap enter on your keyboard after writing, once you tap enter on your keyboard after writing Jupyter install, sorry about that. Once you tap enter on your keyboard, it would start downloading the files that you need, and it would take a long time. It would take a while for it to download, like I said, depending on the device you're using. So anyone trying to do this now? Hello? Is there anyone trying to install this now? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
We can hear you. Are we saying
Yes.
that everybody have Jupyter Lab installed?
No.
Please install it. That's what he's
Hello,
asking.
can you guys hear me?
We can hear you, Mr. Edward.
I got disconnected again.
We can hear you.
Second. I think some of us are not in our system right now. So. Okay.
Sorry, Mr. Edward, please. My system is down. So I was using it before when we started the class by 5, but it's totally down now, and I'm actually waiting for the electricity people to supply the light and all. But then, pending the time that I asked the question, like, can I actually use it on my phone as well?
No,
And,
no. You
it's
can't
not
use
working.
it. Yeah, no, you can't. We advise making use of a laptop, not your phone. I mean, you'll be using your laptop for what we're doing here. So we recommend using your laptop, not your phone. Okay. Yes, Miss Paris.
Okay, so I wanted to ask a question. Because I've seen Jupyter before. I've used it online for some exercises on Kaggle, but does it have anything to do with IPYNB files?
Yes.
Yes.
Because I have an extension on VS Code that uses
IPYNB
files.
Yeah. So yes, it's possible to use your VS Code, but VS Code does not replace the Jupyter Lab server. It doesn't replace the server itself. So if you don't have the server installed on your device, it's not going to work. You understand?
Okay.
So that to be installed, you need to run this command that we just mentioned. So if it already works on your device, it means that the server is already on the device, right? But if it doesn't work, you need to install it. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
I would like to ask another question.
Yes.
Like this is just to confirm if probably I'm thinking of the right thing. So for whichever case I could not access my laptop, did I use Google Anaconda on my phone?
You can.
Google Colab, sorry, Colab.
You can use Collab. You can use Conda Cloud. You can use all of that. The point the instructor is making is that it's a serious work. A serious work, you want to do it on your desktop. Of course, you can run. Even get a version of Python that works on your bare Android, or you want to do it on this thing. There is this level of seriousness that you get with when you work with systems. So please, some of us are saying we join with our phone. Please, would have to do better subsequently. We need you to join with. It's a serious work we want to do. Even though you can run it with your phone, we are not saying that you can't run it with your phone, but we prefer that you work with your system.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Kenny. So if you guys can check also, just so that we don't keep resending the links. Most of the links to resources, links to meetings, links to files that we share here would be passed on Slack. All right, be passed on Slack. We can't always send some of these links to WhatsApp because they get lost, right? But on Slack, most of these things are documented and you can easily make reference to them. So the links right now for the tools that we'll be using, like I just explained, will actually be available on Slack. I already shared that on Slack. All right, is that clear?
Very clear, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, awesome. So while I think we might have this said there to be. So if you are yet to be added to the Slack group, could you are you on WhatsApp? Are you on the WhatsApp group? Okay, good. So if you're on the WhatsApp group, that's good. Could you just indicate on WhatsApp that you've not been added, and one of my colleagues would pick you up and take care of that for you, okay? Just indicate and pass on your email. No, rather, just indicate and someone would reach out to you instead, okay? Yes, we have another question. Okay, Madam Blessing said she has not been added to the groups. All right, okay, we have another person again. All right, so how do we handle this? Okay, what we can do is that while we are still on the call, I will share a link to a form, a short form that those that's not been added to the Slack group or the WhatsApp group would have to fill the form. Okay, while we are still learning, I will share that link and let you guys know once we're done with this session, actually, so that you can use the link to submit your details, submit a WhatsApp number that you own, and also submit your email. And this information will be used to add you to the relevant channels. Is that clear? Hello.
Yes, I think we heard you, but people are not responding.
Very clear, sir.
Very clear.
Right. Perfect. Okay, so let's just go ahead. Let's just continue. So once you've installed Jupyter Lab on your computer, so this basically you would see that the command would return to your root, right? You won't see any file downloading anymore. Everything will look just back to the same it was before. So now what you need to do would be to run it. For you to run it, you need to type this command, Jupyter Lab. What Jupyter Lab will do when you type this command and press enter is that it's going to speed up the server and show you how to access the Jupyter Lab itself. Okay, so real quick, this is just what you do. You just type Jupyter Lab, and you press enter, right? So you do that, press enter. I see that we have some messages on the group already, so that's good. So one of my colleagues will pick that up and contact you. So once you run Jupyter Lab, what you will see is that it would open something like this where it says, you'll see here, it's going to say, let's scroll down a little bit. Yeah, it's going to say to access the server, open the file in the browser. So it tells you to open this file or to use this URL here, right? You don't need to do any of that because most of the time it's just going to open it directly for you here on your browser, right? So localhost 8888/lab is the default URL for Jupyter Lab, right? So once you do that, you would see that you'll be introduced to the environment, and you would most likely see something like this. All right. Once our instructor starts teaching you some of the things that we have on our list for today, you would actually be able to become more confident with the platform itself and know what to do. So it's really simple, as simple as this. Please, if you were not able to complete this process while we're doing it together, you will have access to the video. You can go through that and finish up. If you have any questions at any point in time, you can always reach out to the instructor. You can reach out on Slack. If you have a question, except for those currently that are not on Slack, I think we'll pick you up from WhatsApp and put you there. But if you have a question in the future, please drop the questions on Slack, right? Because like I said, it's easy to follow these questions, on Slack. We can easily make reference to it. If we have lots of messages on WhatsApp, with important questions, it may be missed, and I don't want us to delay, and come back to the next class with questions, whereas we could have, handled that directly. Okay, I hope it's clear, and I hope we actually understand the process. It's not really that complicated. We just installed two different tools, Python first and Jupyter Lab. I hope it's clear.
Thank you very much.
Very clear, sir.
Thank you very much.
Any
Mr.
questions?
Edward,
Any questions?
Not at all.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
All right, thank you very much.
All right, please. There is a question. I have a question, sir.
Okay.
After installing Python on the system, how do I install the Jupyter Lab? Sorry, I'm very sorry to ask the question, but I think I missed out on that.
That's okay. That's okay. So I actually sent a link. I sent a link on Slack. I sent a link on Slack. I sent a link here also on the chat. So I sent two links actually. The first link is for you to download, how to download Python, where you can get the Python file from, right? The second link I sent was a link to the installation page for Jupyter Lab. And the process of installing is really simple. I'm going to share my screen one more time so that I can just show you the command and show you what to do, okay? So I'm just going to share my screen one more time. Here we are. Let me know when you can see my screen.
So we can see it.
All right, perfect. So when you visit the link I shared, you'll be greeted with this page, right? This is where you can get the instructions for installing Jupyter, right? So if you've already installed Python, all you need to run is pip install Jupyter Lab. You run this command in your terminal. So if you're using Windows, you open command prompt, right? Open command prompt and you just paste the command directly here. That's what you need to do, nothing else again. So once you do that, once you paste the command in your terminal and you tap enter, what's going to happen is that it would start downloading all the files concerning Jupyter Lab. You need to download that into your computer. Okay.
Yeah,
do you understand?
Mr. Bangsham, please can you open terminal?
Yes, I get that. Thank you.
Open terminal and
exactly. You just copy this, right? Like I'm doing here. I'm just copying this. So copy, right? Come here, look for your command prompt, right? Open it, and all you have to do is to paste it. So once you paste it, it will start to download the files. So right now, I actually have everything downloaded. So that's why you are seeing the message. It says requirements already satisfied, right? But in your situation, it wouldn't be the case. So it would just start to download the file. Now, don't be worried. It's quite heavy. So it could take a while for it to finish downloading. Right. Once it's done downloading, you would see that you would have a message saying that everything is okay. And then in order for you to run Jupyter on your device, you just need to type Jupyter Lab. The same way you pasted this and run it there, the same way you paste Jupyter Lab. And once you do that, it would open the server like this. You will see a message that says to access this server, open this file or paste the URL, whatever. Most likely, it would automatically open Jupyter Lab on your browser. All right, and you'll be able to see an interface like mine. Okay.
I'm sorry. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello? Okay, after putting in the command, what I'm getting from my system is pip is not recognized as an internal or external command, operable program or batch file. I don't know
All
what
right.
that means.
All right. That's a very common thing to see. So, did you install Python on your device?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So there is actually it's good that you brought this up because there is actually something that you probably missed while you were installing this. You missed adding or basically clicking on the option that allows you to add the Python executable to your path. So how do we fix that? Quick one. Let me see if there is a way I can help you around this. So 1 second. I'm gonna try running this Python file. Let me see if it brings up the options for me, and I will show you what to do. Okay.
Okay.
Let me get back here. I have some of the files already installed. All right. So I'm going to just briefly uninstall my Python. There is another long way of doing this, but just briefly, I'm going to uninstall Python from my device and show you what you need to do because there's one very important point. There are two ways of fixing it. There is the manual way of doing it, whereby you have to go to your path. I think what I can do for you in that situation would be to send a separate video to show you how to fix that problem. But one other easy way is just for me to uninstall it and put it through, just show you how to install it directly, and then you see the options. But that would mean me uninstalling the Python that I have on my device right now. Okay. So you just have to give us a couple. While we take other questions, I have you in mind. So don't worry, I will still put you through that. Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
So, any other questions? Anyone? Guys?
Sorry, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So I think I heard you said that for Mac users there will be a slight change in the command, right?
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Yeah, Mr. Bangsham.
Okay. The other time
Mr.
you were talking
Bangsham.
about
Mr. Bangsham, can you hear me?
Solution, you said it's going to be slightly different from
Mr.
that.
Bangsham, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can barely hear.
Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me, please? Please, can everybody hear me?
Quite noisy. Hello?
Hello, please, can everybody hear me?
Hello, sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, but I can't hear.
Mr. Bangsham, can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes, please go on. Go on with your question, man.
Okay, so I was saying that.
Hello, can you hear me?
I think I heard you say that for Mac users, that the installation process for Jupyter Lab is going to be quite different or something. Something about pipe 3 or I don't know if I hear you correctly.
Yes, so for those that are using a MacBook, all you need to use is instead of writing PIP, which is PIP, you use PIP3. PIP3. Okay, the number 3. Okay. So if you try to use PIP and it doesn't
Hello,
work,
Bangsham, please, can you hear me?
PIP3. That's just it. You understand?
Hello, guys, can you hear me?
I hope your network is okay because I can't hear you clearly. I can't hear you anymore. So
hello, guys, can you hear me, please?
My Python, so I'm going to share my screen again. The person that asked the question, sorry, I didn't get your name. Could you please?
Bangsham, please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Oh, my name is Uyomi.
Hello, please, guys, can you hear me? Please, can everybody hear me?
All right, Uyami. So, do you see my screen?
Bongshim, can you hear me? Oh.
Yes, I can see your screen.
All right, I'm guessing when you tried to install Python, you
Bongshim,
saw
please, can you
something
hear
like
me?
this. Yes. So this was the first thing you saw when you tried to install Python, right?
Hello, guys. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, I did.
All right. So what you need to do is
Bongshim, please,
when
can you
you
hear
click
me?
install now, you see here. Yes, Mr. Kenny, we can hear you.
Please, we need to go
We
for
can hear you
break.
now.
We need to go for break. We'll answer all the questions when we come back from the break.
All right. Just one quick one, just to wrap it up. So you just need to click on this button here to check this button. Add Python exe to file, right? Do this before you click on install.
Okay.
You understand? So once you do this,
Okay.
that should solve that problem for you. Okay.
Okay, no
The rest.
problem. Yeah, thank you.
Please,
All
we're
right.
going for
All right.
break. We'll reconvene by 7 because we didn't go. We're supposed to go for break by 6:45. So by 7:10 we'll come back. By 7:10 we'll come back here. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. Let's go for break. All right.
Your details, and one of our instructors would add you. Now, for the installation, how many of us are still having issues installing? I've been dealing with a couple of them now on the chat. I think some of us have been successful at installing.
Sorry,
else
please.
is
You
having
said you
challenges
were going to uninstall yours and show us the
Yeah. So
step by
when you are
step.
installing again, he showed it.
Okay.
Maybe you missed it. Bongshim,
Yeah.
please say it again. He talked
Yes,
about you adding it to your part.
Yes, I did show it. And for me to show that screen again, I have to uninstall.
Don't worry.
No.
Don't
Okay.
worry. Don't worry
Okay.
about.
I
Don't worry
actually
about
clicked
that.
I actually clicked that side again. Then it's
Uh-huh.
showing setup was successful, and it's asking me to
Uh-huh.
close.
Yeah, that's all. That's
That's
it.
all.
Nothing else.
Open your terminal.
So okay.
Okay. So Bongshim, maybe I
So,
can
sorry,
continue
so-
from here then.
All right. Thank you. Please don't forget to fill the forms so that we can add you. Please don't forget to fill the forms. We're waiting. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Okay.
So after
I'm trying to share my screen so you can get.
after successful now, when I try to open it again, when I try to
Yes.
okay, now it's bringing modify, repair, or uninstall.
No, listen, Chief. Can you see my screen?
Okay. Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so do this. Press your window logo and R together.
Window logo and R. Okay.
Yes. When you do that, you
Done
should
that.
see what you are seeing on my screen. Can you see that?
Yes.
CMD, right? Type CMD
Yes.
inside it. If you are not seeing CMD.
CMD. Yeah.
CMD.
I've typed it. Yeah.
Then you should be here.
Then CMD. Okay, right?
Yes. Hit enter. You should be seeing what I'm seeing
Yeah.
on my screen.
Yes. I'm seeing. I'm there.
Type Python.
Python.
Did you see this?
After typing Python, have you?
Hit enter. Yes.
Yes, I'm seeing.
You are seeing this.
Yes.
Congratulations. You are good.
Okay.
All right. So what you do now is quit this guy here. Quit it by using quits. You see what I've written? Quit like this.
Yeah, quit.
Hit enter.
Yeah.
So you go back to your prompt. User prompt.
Okay.
Are you here now?
Hit enter. Yes, I'm there.
So the next thing you want to do is pip install Jupyter Lab. Yeah, I think it's one word, right? That is what you want to do. Pip install Jupyter Lab.
Jupyter Lab. Okay.
You hit enter, and then the guy will try to install Jupyter if you don't have it already. So if you already have it, you know, it keeps saying requirement already satisfied, requirement already satisfied, and all of that.
I hit enter, but it's still not bringing anything.
It will
At
wait.
least it will do.
What did it do?
Okay, okay.
It's doing now.
I hit enter. No, it's not
Is
still.
yeah,
Okay, okay, it's coming up.
your
It's coming up.
system
Yeah, it's
is
coming up.
maybe is a bit
Obtaining
slow. The memory of your
dependency
system is slow,
information.
or is low rather. I say slow. Yeah, so don't worry. So that should continue.
Yeah, it's coming up.
It's trying
Okay.
to try to get it from the internet, download it, install it, and that will
Yeah, it's
continue.
downloading already. It's downloading already.
Okay. All right.
Thank you very much. It's
Good.
downloading. Thank you.
So the other way that my colleague said that you would have fixed that instead of having to uninstall is you can just check where the Python was installed actually. Maybe you go to your system path. If you go to your system, but he didn't want to do that so that he won't have to draw a couple of other people back. If you go to maybe your C drive, you check where Python is installed. Once you get where it's installed, I actually have multiple versions of Python. So if you get, maybe you go to your program files, either program 64 or this. If you had that, you look for Python. So if you look for Python, if you have it, where is Python here? I think it's installed on the in here. So pretty much you look for it. Let me see, is it on the 64 bits? So once you get the file path of that to your Python, what you want to do is to add it to your system environment variable, system variable. You'll do it like that. So that's the second way you'll have done it. So just so that we save some time and not bore you with but that is a better option if you don't want to uninstall. I think I find it absurd to having to uninstall and reinstall. But of course, you can also find it very difficult to get where your Python path is. Reason being that Python may be installed by several ways, and even you may not know how many versions of Python you have on your system, because a lot of programs bundled Python as part of their source code. So the bundle Python, you have it installed. So when you install certain programs, by virtue of installing such programs, you have installed Python. So you see yourself having several versions of Python on the system. And if you're a developer, maybe you have installed developer tool, which would have installed Python and all of that. So you have that. So if instead of having to go through the trouble of checking the system path, you may want to do the easier way, which is the easiest way: uninstall, come back. But developers, I don't think they are cool with having to uninstall something so that you can fix it. Okay. Please, do we still have anybody else trying to install? Because you would struggle to do catch-up game if you don't have this thing installed. That's what we are trying to emphasize, that you have it installed. You would be catching up. You will try to catch up, and you will see yourself not being able to catch up. That's why we wanted us to be ready. Madam, go ahead with your question.
Still saying people not recognized.
Did you follow Mr. Edwards' instruction of uninstalling?
Yes, and I followed. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you install again, did you check the path, add it to the path, the system path?
Yes.
Did you install on that terminal that you currently install from where? How did you install? Did you close that already, guy?
Sure.
They already close that prompt and reopen it. The command prompt. You may not be aware that you have now reinstalled it. Close it or open a new one and run it there again. You get what I mean? You can close. Either we open a new guy from here, or you close this one entirely and open a new one.
Okay, sir.
So open a new one so it's aware that you have it installed.
Yeah,
I will just allow 2 minutes.
Good.
Please, we are trying to wait for a couple of us. I check. Please, if you're having issues on installing, let us know. Madam Alpha. So while we are waiting for her, I will just make some comments to clarify certain things that we are talking about. So you can see this guy is telling me about my PEEP version being out of date. It's telling me here by my PEEP version, I have version 21.2.3, and of course there is version 23.2.1 now. And so you can upgrade your PEEP version by using this upgrade PEEP command. Upgrade PEEP, just upgrade PEEP. That upgrades your Python installation package. And just like my colleague mentioned, is a package manager that we use to manage Python packages. Now, as regards whether you use PEEP or PEEP3, it is because in Linux distributions or Unix distributions, sometimes it has Python shipped by default, and most of the Python that is shipped by default are version 2. And so if there's a version of Python shipped which is by version 2 on Unix system, if you now install Python 3, PEEP, when you use PEEP command, you are talking to the pre-installed version, which is version 2. It will still work, except you don't have that version installed. So, but it will be working with the earlier version on your system. So when you use PEEP3, that is PEEP version 3, works with Python version 3. So if you use PEEP3 command, all right, so that will pretty much be working with the versions, Python 3 versions that you have on your system. So, and if you look up here, the version of Python that I have got here is 3.1.0. I think the last time I updated it was I think 2021 or so, like that. So just to clarify that. So another way you may want to install this tool that we are installing, rather than having to install Python and installing Jupyter Lab, is you may want to install Anaconda. So if you install Anaconda from here, if you install Anaconda from anaconda.com, it's made for data scientists or AI experts or AI students, whatever you want to call it. This way, if you just install only Anaconda, you don't even need to install a Python, and it comes bundled with a couple of things that you will need, just everything in one box. But if you use Python for something else other than the machine learning or AIs, you may want to have Python installed separately, so it's used outside the Anaconda prompt. But if you just install Anaconda, if you go to their site, you can see the installation. So of course it has pricing, but it's free for researchers and for students, and of course for experiment, it's free. So we can have it just one thing, you install it, and that is all you got to install. So if a couple of us are still having issues with it, you may want to download Anaconda. So once you download Anaconda, you will have Anaconda Lab. Anaconda Lab look like this. Anaconda Navigator looks like this. It has pretty much a couple of things that you need, and then it has its own prompt. If you come here, if you check from your system, Anaconda prompts, this works outside your own system command prompt. This looks pretty much like your system command prompt, but it's in itself its own prompt, and which you can run pretty much all Python command that you run. So this creates like it's different processing units that we call like a GPU, and it's faster for machine learning processing. So you may want to go this route. It's pretty handy for um, machine learning enthusiasts. Very pretty handy. You don't have to, couple of things that you would see that we'll be installing with from the first approach. We don't have to install it. It comes with NumPy, SciPy, pandas, all these things. It comes pretty bundled with it. Madam Joke, how are we doing? Madam Joke, have you
It's
been able
still
to
the
install it?
same, but I'm trying to install it.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, I've not been able to.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Please, we'll
I don't know
just ride
if
on.
I don't know if she can share a screen and you can know where she is having problem from. I can easily solve it from now.
Do we want to go that route? Okay. I think it's something that we can solve. Madam Joker is a developer also, so we will engage after this session, and we'll see how we can handle it. You get? Except if everybody else is also having issues, I think we know how to get uh, to her and get that resolved. So, but if everybody is cool with seeing it, just in case you face similar issues, how you resolve it, fine. We can quickly have our display it and quickly check our paths and add our paths to the system variables, and we should be good. Well, I don't want. We've not done so much today, so I want us to be able to at least, do some more stuff before we end this thing in a couple of minutes. So, but is anyone also still having issues with installation? All right. So, are we saying that we can ride on?
You want me to share my screen?
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Quickly share your screen then. Quickly share your screen. I wanted us to just solve this outside the class, but you can quickly share your screen so that others can also have time to catch up. Quickly share your screen, please. Let me unshare my screen so you can quickly share. Quickly share your screen. Can you hear me, Adam Joker? Can you hear me? Please, can everybody hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're going to have to continue. I want. Madam Joker, please, we are waiting for you to share your screen so we can sort it out and move on once and for all.
I'm trying to, but it's not coming up.
Okay, I've unshared mine, so you should be able to share. Try it.
I can hear you, but I'm trying to share my screen, but it's not coming up. I think it's my network.
If you can unshare and reshare. If you can unjoin, rather, and join again. So please, even if you have the other version installed, please, it's worth giving a go. Download Anaconda. Although I will be working with the first approach, but Anaconda is just a lifesaver that has a couple of things, and then it has its own package installer that you can use called Conda. So you use Conda, C-O-N-D-A, you can use it to install packages that he doesn't have, but it works within that GPU that you have. So, all right, so madam, open PowerShell. Open PowerShell. Can you open PowerShell? Just from your window, just type PowerShell and open it as an administrator. Can you hear me, madam? We saw your screen, but it's gone again. Okay. I think she's having network problem. She's having a network problem. So if you can hear me, if you open your system and start PowerShell as an administrator. You can run pretty much like we run commands that we run on Unix system, so you can check which Python but you don't even have Python installed. You don't even know which so you can check which Python. This is Windows. Oh, so this command works on Unix system. So you guys, the Windows guys, you guys are at a very big disadvantage. So, but most of the times it's installed on the C drive, so you can have it here. Is here. So it's mostly here. So Python 3.10. Yeah, Rashid, show that in there.
Yes. Sorry. I actually don't want to disturb the class. I was downloading the Jupyter Lab,
Yes.
and then an error came up.
Don't say you don't want to disturb the class. So that's why we are here. We don't. Please disturb the class.
I actually thought probably
no, it's not a problem. It's not a problem. Go ahead.
So an error came up when I was downloading the Jupyter Lab. Error, exception, traceback, most recent call, blah blah blah.
What is, can you share your screen? Probably you don't have your connection got broken, or you don't have certain requirements. I think
So, but
maybe what we
actually,
can do to make progress,
okay,
you get what I
okay, sir.
mean? What we
Yeah,
can
I'm
do to
listening.
make progress would be after we're still waiting for Madam Joker, Day Joker. Okay, I think she's back. But let's look at yours first, so we can look at ours. So we know that we are done with installations problem, so everybody can start on clean slate. But I really want us to at least get our hands on something. So can you quickly just share your screen then?
Sorry, that's what I'm trying to do. Oh goodness. Hold on, please. So it's coming up, please. Oh, goodness. Sorry, please. I don't get how I'll go about this screen sharing.
So most people don't are not used to it. The guy in between the arrow that is pointing up beside beside the hand that you're seeing. The guy, if you count from right, 1, 2, 3, 4, the fourth icon from right. The fourth icon from right, from the right is the share. Have you clicked on that? Then once you do that, you will have to also click the window that you're sharing and share, and click on share again. Please, we're waiting for you. Time is fast spent. Mr. Mr. Shoda Inde. So, Madam Joke, are you back? So I'm going to. Can everybody hear me, please? Hello, can anybody hear me? Hello, please, can you hear me? Hello, please, can you hear me? Please, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Oh, okay. Madam Joke, please, are you there? We are waiting for you, Mr. Shoda Inde. Okay, maybe we'll continue. We'll continue and resolve this thing. So, but please just install Anaconda. It's very
Yes, I
straightforward.
think we can have a meeting with them later to just walk them through
So we can have that
installation.
so that we don't Yeah.
After all, I think the class is being recorded, so I think it's fine.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I think that it's a good.
Oh,
So
Mr. Kennedy,
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Hello, please. Can you hear me?
network is probably good.
What's going on? Can you hear me now? Please, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now, sir.
Okay, please. Let's continue. Please, if you can't hear me at any point, let me know so I can adjust the microphone I'm using. Please, can everybody hear me? Please, can everybody hear me? Hello? Please, can everybody hear me?
Yes, yes, loud and clear.
Oh, okay. So let me use this one. Push this one aside. Okay. Let me share the screen. Entire screen. Okay, so if you have your environment set up, so you just open your terminal, or if you have a bash like git bash, you can have it opened. So the next thing you want to do is just to fire up Jupyter Lab. Fire up Jupyter Lab. Just like my colleague had mentioned. So when you fire up Jupyter Lab, this guy would open your Jupyter server, and then it would run on a default ports. So if you have a Jupyter server, one server already running, it will choose another port and run on another port. But we don't want to browse with what ports and what port is. So now someone asked a question, IP notebook, high Python notebook, that is it related to Jupyter Lab? So you can actually use your VS Code to do what we are doing now, but of course you have to install the extension, just like my colleague had mentioned. If VS Code discover that what you're writing has an extension IPNB, it's intelligent enough to ask you if you would like to install the extension that will make it work. But like we say in software engineering, is use the tool that is meant for what. So if the developer or people who what is most used in industry for certain things, don't go and bend rules. Uh, it's for your sake. Of course, as a developer, maybe you are very comfortable with VS Code, so you want to bundle everything you want to do. It's got to be through the VS Code. No problem. You can pimp it up to that stage, but just focus on doing what is productive rather than trying to make your tool that is not built for something work for it. But VS Code is a very versatile tool, and you're able to do a lot with it if you raise it to the level that you can do it. But Jupyter Lab is not alone. You have the Conda Lab as well. Of course, you can also have Jupyter. Jupyter is bundled with Anaconda that you can also have. So you have the Colab, like someone mentioned. So there are a couple of other runtime that you can use to run this. And Jupyter Lab is not only for Python. It has a kernel, and with the kernel, that is a processing. So you can use it to write any other programming. So when you even open this guy is going to ask you which kernel you want to use if you're trying to run it. So if you have different Python or you have other programming that you want to run with, so you can you can choose which when you're running your notebook, and you can select which kernel is to use. All right, so having said that, I want to keep things very simple and basic, though I know that a couple of us have done this before, but I will not assume knowledge, because like I mentioned earlier, this is pretty balanced. So we're just going to take it very slowly and ensure that as much as possible, majority get the point. So I sent one data. I sent a data to the WhatsApp group, and I said we're going to be working with that. So I would, for ease of these things, I want us to open maybe on your desktop or any place that you're comfortable with, maybe in your documents or anywhere. You can open a folder for this project, for this training, and you can drop that in there. So I'm going to go back for your use or for your ease of following. So I'm going to quit this server now. I'll quit it by typing Ctrl+C, and then I would start again by coming through this. I'll type something called CD. I know some of you, please forgive me. I will explain CD. CD means change directory. So it's a command. So just say change directory to this. Change directory to this. So I have it open on, so I don't want to type it, or you can type it. So I will just drop this guy to that terminal in there. Just drop it here. It doesn't want to come. Okay, yeah, so if it is not coming, then I will just come here, and then I can copy that part from here and then have this guy pasted here. Ctrl+C, please. So naturally, when you drag it there, it should work. So let me copy that guy here, CD, and then I have this guy pasted. So probably, okay, I was on another prompt that time. That's why the dragging doesn't work. So I have this guy pasted here, and then I'm here because this is actually a Linux batch. So let me open it with Window R, since most of us have it like this. Window R, you have this command prompt. So just type your CD from here and drag that guy here. So it works this way. The other time it did not work because this path, the file system on Linux, that bash it works pretty much like Linux system. This guy uses backslash, but there we use /. So he doesn't know how to resolve that, so he couldn't resolve it automatically, and that's why here. Please, I want to ensure that we are here. Are we here?
Yeah, we are following.
You've created a folder, and you open your command prompt CD, and then you drag that folder straight in there and you hit enter. Are we there, please? So the next thing you want to do is then open your Jupyter Lab from here. When you open your Jupyter Lab from here, Jupyter Lab opens by default, all the files that you've got inside this ML training, that folder they're currently in, your current directory. So if you do this, it opens up the Jupyter Lab in this directory, so you can begin to work with the files that you've got in there rather than having to resolve files manually. So I want us to wake up Jupyter Lab inside that folder that we have just created. We are waking up Jupyter Lab inside that folder that we already created. So you can see that what you've got here is that part loaded by default, and then you got everything, you know, fresh. Please, there's no shame here. There's no I don't want to draw you back. The earlier you draw us back, because it's going to get complicated. Are we here now?
Yes, we are.
Please, who is not here? So, somebody is taking somebody through the chat. Please, who needs help? Now, so the next thing you want to do is to open a new file. So depending on what you want to write, maybe it's a Python code, a Python console, a Python kernel, or any other code. So I will just say file new. Now I'm not going to open a new Python file because I'm not writing a raw Python code. I'm writing a notebook. So we say file new and then open a new notebook. So a new notebook is by default with an extension IPYNB called IPython notebook. IPython notebook, that is the extension. We want to write what we've written and we want to visualize it immediately. We don't want to wait till tomorrow. So notebook effectively helps us to do that. So when you write your Python code, you send with .py. Of course, you can import that into your notebook and work with it. All right, but we just want to, let's start basic and then build up. So like I mentioned, each time you open a new workbook, this guy is trying to ask you which kernel you want to use. Here, Python 3, open without any kernel. So I just say open with Python 3, and then I'll select that. You can ask the guy to always select so it doesn't bother you the next time, but do this just in case you need to change your options. So the next you also want to do is to name your file so it's not untitled. So you want to name this guy, give it a proper name. Maybe you call it intro, or yes, intro, or you can call it linear regression, because that's what we're about to do. Linear regression, like this. Please, are we following? We've not done anything.
Yeah.
Just opening a notebook. All right, so the next thing you want to do is to import the tools that you need to work. So I would try to explain linear regression itself. But before then, I will just bring on the recipes that we need to cook our foods, so that we have everything ready before we work. I know that a couple of us are not so good in Python as well, so I don't want us to go to route of explaining Python syntax and all of that. So I will just be explaining it on the job right in there. I'll be explaining it on the job, so, and as much as possible I will try to be explicit so you get it. You don't have to know all the Python in this world before you can do this. So you just need to know the little ones that works more in line with what you're trying to do. It's pretty much like you don't need to know all the concepts behind the linear regression before you can do a linear regression at machine learning level. So the first thing we want to do here is we want to import our library. So I'm going to import something called pandas, a Python library called pandas. Now this pandas needs to be installed before it can be used. If you use you did not, if you are not using it through Anaconda, if you're using it through Anaconda, Panda is already installed, it's bundled, you don't need to install it. But if you're not using it, you have to go to your console, and so for you to know if it is installed or not, you can just put import pandas like this, and then try to check the version of pandas that you've got, or you can just say pandas, right, and try to run this. Click on this after typing import pandas, you just type pandas, and then where that is highlighted, there's a play button here which plays the code that you have just written. You click on that. So if you see something like this, it means you have pandas installed. If you see red, you see an error, it means Panda is not installed. And then I said I was going to explain a couple of things that I write, because this is a Python code. Now, so when you have certain things installed or certain libraries, you want to use them, you bring them into your program by using an import keyword. Import keywords brings in whatever package. So if I installed Kenny and I need to bring Kenny in, I just say import Kenny. All right. So I can import Kenny straight on like this and use Kenny, keep using Kenny like that. But some of these names are very long and some of them are not so convenient. So I may import Kenny as Kenny's name and then give it an alias. I can give Kenny an alias that is very comfortable for me to use within my program. So I can use Kenny as, import pandas as anything. So instead of me having to use pandas like pandas, I use anything because I've given it an alias. But mostly you see people using PD, but that is not, it's not like a standard Python pandas as PD. You know, alias, you can give it anything that is comfortable for you. So we use alias first for one for comfortability. Second, when you have clash, let's say you have a name clash, maybe you're using a program, you are using a package that also has pandas in it, and you're also importing pandas. So there's a clash of which panda should, when you say pandas, which panda are you talking about? So you may want to separate one from the other. So you may say, okay, the other pandas, BS pandas normally. The second one you want to give it another thing. So just pretty much the same way we use alias. Just like you have several twins in your within as siblings. You may want to say the junior Kehinde, the senior Kehinde, or something like that. You give them an alias that you can use that to separate that. So that's what alias is, and we use alias as as here. So we say as is an alias, so you can then give any name that you have. So, and like I said, for ease of use, for conveniency, you put the alias name here, and then you continue to use that. But when you're using alias name, you have to keep it as one word as well. Very simple. You know, you keep to the rules of naming variables. I'm not going to bore you with rules of naming variables because I just want to keep straight on the job, so we get the job done. So if you're seeing error after running this, all you need to do is run back to your console. Run back to your console. Do we have anybody here seeing error?
I'm seeing error.
Who is not seeing error? If you are not seeing error, it means we have used pandas before. If you are seeing error, all you need to do, I know that a couple of people are not talking. We will not achieve by not talking. You don't want to say, you don't want to disturb us. Please disturb us. So what I'm going to do is I will do Control C like this. I want to interrupt that server. I will interrupt it because I want it to install in that line so that it knows that You can use another terminal and install it from there and refresh. But let's use the same terminal, having beginners in mind. So this guy is taking forever to shut down the server. So this is pretty much shutting down the server. So once you have your this thing, so what you want to do is just use your pip command still. Pip install pandas. So this is what we are talking about. Pip install pandas, and this will install pandas. But after installing pandas, there's another thing that you also need to install immediately, so we don't have to go back and forth. Install pandas and install numpy. Pip install pandas, that should run. You can install both of them together. Pandas, numpy. You understand? Pip install pandas, numpy. So if you install pandas, you should also install numpy. Or you can do it separate command. Pandas. Then once that runs, I already have it installed. You know, once it runs, again, requirement met here. But I think on this GPU that I have numpy there. So pip again install numpy because we'll be using numpy. Please quickly install that.
I think NumPy came with pandas because I'm seeing it while I'm installing it. Really.
Okay, perfect. Requirement already satisfied. Perfect. Pandas, of course, has NumPy here. Can we move on, please?
Yes, sir.
Please, who is still installing? Like I mentioned, don't say that you are not, you don't want to. There's nothing like that. I don't want to disturb you. I don't want to call you. I don't want to be like I'm the one drawing the class back. So once you have that, you want to pull off your Jupyter again. So if you run that command again now, that's your this thing, just click on this box and use play. You should see something pretty much like I saw. PD rather. Since we install it, we bring it in as PD, so I can run it like that. So if you are using alias already, you can run it like that. And please let me know when to continue.
Yeah, from my end, I think I already got it to this point.
You're good. Well done.
From my end too, I'm good.
No more.
Congratulations. Oh, nice. Please, we are waiting for some of us. Please, let's be giving consent so that we can move on. We have a lot to cover.
Fire on.
Fire on. Thank you. Okay. So, like we just imported. We have import pandas as PD, but I may not want to use PD because you see every Tom, Dick, and Harry using PD as if PD is one thing you have to that you have to use. But let me be clear: you don't have to use PD. Use any name that is comfortable. You're comfortable with, as anything, as any name, as 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 AI, whatever you want. So, or I can even just say import pandas without bringing it as any alias, because panda is pretty simple and straightforward. The name is not so, it's short. So the next thing I want to import is NumPy. I will use NumPy to do some calculations. Matrices is very cool and all of that. Pandas is a data analytics tool that we use to manipulate data, read data, write data, read data frames and all of those things like that. So there's something that is built now. It's called Dask. If anybody has worked with pandas before, if you have not worked with Dask, you can check out Dask. Dask works pretty much more in terms of big data. It works better, but I don't want to let's not bore ourselves with that. Let's start even with pandas, because I know some of us are having first encounter with pandas, even pandas. So the first thing we want to do with pandas is we want to use this panda to read in the data that we got in this place here. So we have some data in this Olympic CSV. We don't know how it looks. Maybe you might have checked it out from your Excel, but let's say we want to see how it looks from the Jupyter Lab. So the first thing we want to do is to import, to read this data in, and then see what the data looks like. So let's say I call this Olympic. So this thing I've written here in programming generally is called variable. So if you're coming from any other language that you have to use a keyword to declare your variable, in Python you can just go straight in and just declare a variable. So I just write a variable name Olympic. This variable name is my definition, so I can write it as I want. So I just say Olympic, and then I use these pandas as I have here. Now you can have an IntelliSense here. Some of you, if you have written any programming before, you want this guy to be able to help you, so you can use tab, so it brings it up, although this guy is not so you may want to check that out. Just when you type, you put tab, and then it brings out options for you, but I'm just going to go straight in. For some reasons it's not showing it up, so I'll use read CSV. Read CSV command is used to read a CSV file, and these CSV files can be anything. It could be a local file in your path, or it could be a remote file that you're reading from a remote server. In any case, if it's a remote server, you put the URL to that file here, http whatever, and then this guy reads in the data. If it is local, then you point to the path where the data is. So let's say we are trying to read in here, and our linear programming is here, so it's just its neighbor. So we just say Olympic. Of course, we have to ensure that the spelling here is correct. Olympics.csv. Alright, so if you're coming from other programming language as well, so maybe you do a terminator that you want to use terminate here, it's not required here. So you just put, this is a variable name, you're reading in your data into this is your variable name, Olympic. And it's not like it's compulsory that you have to use this Olympic because what you are reading in is Olympic. This is pretty much at your convenience. You put any name in here, provided you follow rule of naming variable. One of the rules of naming variable is that this has to be one word. You cannot say Olympic 1 here. This is wrong because you're leaving a space in between. So if you have to maintain two words, so you have to have something join them. So you put it like an underscore. So when you have an underscore between two words in programming, we call this kind of naming, we call it snake case. This is a snake case, but I'm not going to bore you with all those details because they don't matter so much right now. They just focus on what we're trying to do. Give it a simple name, maintain one word, and then you read in this guy here. So let's see what this guy looks like. Olympic. So all things being equal, if we say Olympic, that's your variable name right now, and then you just click this box and then you read this guy in. Click this play button. You should have the structure of your data. You should have the structure of your data, all things being equal. Like I mentioned, this could be a remote data. A remote data, when we say remote data, we mean on a website. Maybe the data is on your website. Maybe it's on another computer. So all I need to do is just tell me how to get the data, the part of the data, and then pandas will read it in, and then so just say Olympic here shows up the structure of my data. Please do the same. If you have an issue, feel free to voice out. We're good?
Yeah, we're good.
Thank you. All right, so just a couple of playing around, just so that we know that we are comfortable. What this shows here shows 2014 rows, and there are 9 columns. It just describes your data basically. So you may, from this data, you may want to select just some columns. You want to take out, you want to get out teams, you want to get out year, you want to get out athletes, you want to get out only events. Pretty much you want to copy a column out of here, maybe some columns or just a particular column. And how do you do that? It's quite simple in here. So if I need to get only team here, only team, I can just say team equals to my Olympic is an array of data. So I can just get out Olympic, then put a square bracket. Okay, put a square bracket here, and then put the column name, the column I'm trying to get. The column I'm trying to get here is team. So if I go there and say team and do this, and then check out team. Now this time around, this is what I want to run, not this guy. So I ensure that this is clicked on, and then I run this. Then when you do that, you'll see your team. This guy shows up the team. Shows up the team here, and it pretty much describes the team. You know, name is the team. That's the length of the title of that column is team. The length of it, how many records you've got, and the type of data, it's object. But of course, you can also put it in dimension. When you put it in dimension, you have less details, but it pretty much comes like a matrix. So if you come here, like I'm putting two brackets. So you put it here, you can see that what it gives you, it looks pretty cleaner, but then it gives you less details about it. Just tells you there are 214 rows and there's only 1 column. And so see this one, this is 0 here, 0, 1, 2, 3 here is pretty much the index of each of the records. Pretty much what I'm saying here is each time you need to get, of course you are not going to be working with all the columns that you've got. You want to work with certain columns, not, and leave some columns out. This is how you select columns from a pool of columns. So if you need to select multiple columns, so you can just say teams, put comma, put another columns that you need to pick out from here. Let's say you need to pick out year. You know, you put that out. So if you do this, so let's say I call this, I don't want to call it team, but you can call it any name. Like I mentioned, this is just a variable name. So you can do this, you do that, you have 2 columns, pull out from this guy. So you can be any other, so you can just put comma separated and then put this. But if you make a mistake and put a column that doesn't exist, right now this column doesn't exist, look at what you get. There's a problem here because there's no Kenny. There's no Kenny. There's no column Kenny. All right. But had you had a column that doesn't already exist, we'll see that as we progress. Let's say you need to add an additional column that didn't come with the original data. We'll see how we handle that as we move along. But right now, we are trying to reference a column that doesn't exist naturally. So I've shown us how to read in the data, which is pretty basic, and then how to select columns from here just by putting a square bracket and putting the title of that column word for word that is written here, and then that gets the data out. Okay. All right. So let's say that what we want to really get out is this is our Olympic team. These are real data, and I think it's been used in several data analytics fora. Here we are trying to predict the number of medals that a particular team will win in an Olympic. So for us to be able to predict that successfully, let's understand what this data is. For us to be able to predict that successfully, we have to look at the history of that team and how they have performed in previous Olympic games. And the number of medals that a team will win or a country will win will be, maybe sometimes it's proportionate to the number of athletes that they have, performing or engaging in various Olympic games. So maybe you have, for instance, Nigeria participating in badminton, participating in 4x4 race, participating in 100 meters, and all of those things like that. So the number of participations you have would influence how many medals you win eventually. If you participate in only one, you will only get one medal. If you participate in only two, you have a probability of at least getting up to two. You may get zero, you may not get anything. Like this AFG, have 8 athletes participated in 8 events but got 0 medal in 1964. In 1968 again they got 0 medal, and like that. So what are we saying? We want to use this data to be able to do a predictive analysis using linear regression. Okay, so here we're going to be using a linear regression with 2 variables called bivariate, and I will try my best to try to refresh our memory of what linear regression is in theory. And then we would come back to the table and then do because we are building this from scratch. You have to mark my word. Going forward, you don't have to know the nitty-gritty of all the formulas that is used to build a particular model before you can use them. But what this would help us achieve is, if you know how to build a model, so if you understand a particular formula in your own field and you are trying to code it out and convert that into a model that can be used by other people, you will know how to do it rather than just consuming an already made models that we'll be using subsequently. This is the only time that we are going to build stuff from. We are going to build a mathematical model from scratch, and then build it ground up. So, but we are spending outside our time. I will just spare to 8:30. Whatever we can achieve to 8:30, we're going to close it there, and then we'll agree on what time is best for us. I see that it looks like 5 o'clock that we were supposed to be meeting is not convenient for almost everybody. So, but I haven't said that. Let's look at the concepts of the linear regression. So I know some of us here are scientists. We have professors here already. So forgive me for taking you too low to explaining this thing to you, but I have to do that because this is a balanced. It's a balanced. It's a balanced forum. So I will just assume. I will not assume knowledge. I will assume that everybody doesn't know, and I will see. I'll try to remember as much as possible what this thing is. So let me unshare from here so I can quickly just jump in and write some things up.